Welcome back to our last lecture in the series. So far, we've spent considerable time exploring the maps, the theories of cognitive architecture, mental models, and the anatomy of adventure. But a map is not a territory. To become a primed adventurer, we must now pivot from abstract ideas into tangible action. We are about to walk through the first steps of this journey. However, I want to be clear, these are not merely exercises to be checked off a list. They are a demonstration of will. They are the initial, difficult movements required to reclaim the active, error-driven process of learning from the passive drift of modern life. To take these steps, you must adopt what we call a qualifying disposition. This is not a fixed state of being, it's a deliberate act of becoming. It's the psychological will to engage with the world, not as if it was told to you by a teacher or an algorithm, but as you must necessarily experience it. We live in an age of the outsourced mind, where AI and institution offer us competence without comprehension. We are at risk of becoming collateral damage, dependent upon systems we don't understand. The disposition we are cultivating today is the antidote. It's the refusal to be a passenger. It's the decision to foster the germane cognitive load required to wire your own brain. The first challenge to this disposition is the pace of our lives. The world demands speed, but freedom requires stillness. As we've observed in the previous lectures, Rollo May famously observed that human freedom involves our capacity to pause between stimulus and response, and in that pause to choose. In the unprimed mind, there is no gap. You feel fear, you hide, you feel anger, you lash out. Yes? This is the socialized mind that Robert Kegan speaks of, acting on autopilot. We're going to learn to create a radical interruption in this flow. The pause. It's not just a delay. It's the workspace where all meaningful cognitive architecture is built. Without it, you have no agency. So how do we operationalize this? We are going to forge 4 specific tools today. These are designed to be difficult. They are meant to disrupt the habits that have kept you safe, but stuck. First, we will unearth your calling to find your true trajectory. We may not actually find it today, but we'll show you the pathway towards finding it. We will practice to find stillness to create the space for choice. We will map your immunity to change, to confront the internal resistance. And we will craft the convening call to invite others into your journey. So let's begin with the why. We are looking for the irrational factor that destines you to emancipate yourself from the crowd. But this is tricky. As Adam Phillips warns, we are often haunted by the unlived life, the fantasy of who we should be, which robs our actual life of satisfaction. Our goal is to distinguish a genuine calling from a fantasy. To do this, we can use a framework I call the 4 I's. Take a look at this quadrant. First, intuition. Look back at your childhood code. What activities absorbed you so completely that you lost track of time? Look for the verbs, not the nouns. If you loved Lego, was it the joy of building or organising? Second, ignorance. Where are you willing to be a beginner again? Where does your curiosity outweigh your fear of looking foolish? Third, introspection. What recurring itch or problem keeps coming back to you? Treat your fantasies as data. Strip away the fame and find the function. Fourth, imagination. If your life were a mythic narrative, what is the central conflict your character is trying to resolve? When you synthesize these, you aren't looking for a job title, you're looking for a trajectory. The one thing necessary that you must remain faithful to. Once you have a sense of direction, you need the control to pursue it. This brings us to defiant stillness. This is not meditation, it's a micro practice designed to inhibit the time binding of past regrets and future anxieties. It leverages the fact that your brain is a prediction machine. By forcibly stopping, you disrupt your brain's automatic prediction of reality, allowing you to see what is actually there. Here is the protocol. You will need to practice this for at least the next 3 days. First, identify a trigger. A moment of stress. It could be an email or a flash of irritation. Second, the 5-second stop. Physically stop. Do not speak, do not type. Just breathe for 5 seconds. Third, sensory check-in. In that silence, name 3 things you see, 2 things you hear, and 1 thing you feel. This process anchors you in the living present. The question, only then do you ask, what do I choose to do next? This moves you from reaction to self-negotiated action. But even with a calling and a pause, you'll face resistance. The resistance is rarely external, it's more often internal. We call this your immunity to change. Drawing on Robert Kegan, we must move from being had by our assumptions, the subject, to having them as tools, the object. We need to interject, to look between our reaction and reality and cast doubt on the assumptions driving us. We map this using 3 columns. In column 1, the trigger. What happened objectively? Column 2, the emotion. Be specific. Tell us. Anxiety was present. Column 3, the hidden assumption. Ask yourself, what must I believe is true for this reaction to make sense? For example, if I assume I will speak up, I'll be humiliated. Once we surface that assumption, we've got something to work with, right? So by writing this down, you turn the hidden fear into a visible object. And here is the key. You cannot think your way out of this immunity. You have to behave your way out. You must design a small, low-risk test to prove the assumption wrong. Finally, authentic adventuring is not a solo act. The community is the teacher. You must engage with others to create value. But you likely don't have the formal authority. You cannot command people to join you. You must convene them. You must craft a convening call. A successful convening call has 3 movements. First, the shared reality. Anchor your call in common struggles, not corporate jargon. We all see that our current way of solving this is leaving people behind. Second, the aspirational possibility. Paint a picture of what could be. Invite co-creation. Imagine if we combined our resources. Third, the invitation to agency. Unlock their capacity to act. I don't have the answer, but I believe your experience is the missing piece. This is how you build legitimacy when none existed before. I want you to see that these are not 4 separate tasks. They are interrelated architecture for self-negotiated action. Your calling gives you direction. Remember, the North Star. The pause gives you control, the anchor. The immunity map clears the internal path through rebalancing. The convening call clears the external path, the community engagement. This is how you align your inner world of convictions with your outer world of perceptions. As you practice this, you are aiming for a state of being educated. But this is not a degree on the wall, right? Again, drawing on John Ruskin, you're only educated in the moment you can answer these 3 questions. Where are you? Can you read your environment? Where are you going? Is it aligned to your calling? And therefore, based on that, what will you do? What types of agency must you be able to enact? If you cannot answer these questions, you are momentarily uneducated. And that is the point. Being uneducated is the motivating factor. It is the signal that the adventure has begun. If you cannot answer Ruskin's questions today, do not despair. You have begun the work of priming. As Agamben reminds us, the ultimate challenge is to sustain contingency so as to live it as necessity, to take the chance events of your life and embrace them as your destiny. The maps are put away. The terrain is in front of you. It's time to pause, to choose, and to walk. So, consider this your official invitation to drop into the Primed Adventuring School community. It's a free place where you can find yourself, find friends, and find your future adventure. Thank you for taking the time to explore the underpinnings and the process of the Primed Adventurer.